Freedom of speech is an important thing to have. It helps us citizens have a way to voice our opinions, be who we want to be, and vocalize our needs and what we believe in, what we don't believe in, without the government really telling us, hey, you can't do that. So, sometimes though, people tend to abuse that power and they end up using their freedom of speech to say something that really shouldn't be said, but they have well within their rights to say because we can't really do anything about it. Today, I will be talking about the world's #1 YouTuber, PewDiePie, also known as Felix Schellberg, and one of the many times that he has used his platform to talk about or share something offensive to the world, the consequences that followed, and how it crosses paths with the First Amendment. In the article, the controversy over YouTube star PewDiePie and his anti-Semitic jokes explained from Vox.com from 2017 talks about how in January 2017, Felix hired 2 freelance performers on a website called Fiverr to hold up a sign reading, "Death to all Jews." That's a big thing to do, especially in today's world, and any time of the world actually. But a lot of people took offense to it, as some might, and they really just went after PewDiePie and his fan base. And after Felix had kind of realized, hey, what I did was probably wrong, he claimed that hiring those freelance workers was meant to be an experiment on the digital marketplace, and that the video was satire, which a lot of his comedy is satire, and that he didn't mean for it to cause harm. And he was trying to prove how crazy the modern world is. Well, in today's world, things that you say or do is going to quite possibly have some actions that follow that is going to offend people. So because of this, PewDiePie ended up losing 2 major partnerships. He ended up losing the partnership with Disney-owned Maker Studios, which helps YouTubers kind of get production started and helps produce a lot of more YouTube-made video, movies, which leads me to the second thing that he lost. He lost his 2nd season of Scare PewDiePie, which is where he would go through these scary things and people would just really try and scare him, and that was pretty much the whole show, just PewDiePie getting scared a lot. And then YouTube also removed his channel from an advertisement program that awards perks to the top 5% of YouTube creators, which would get them more money. So PewDiePie, being the #1 YouTuber, lost that opportunity of getting all these perks, and his second season of his TV show, Scare PewDiePie, and his partnership with Disney-owned Maker Studios. How this goes against the First Amendment is kind of tricky, because PewDiePie technically isn't a U.S. citizen. He's from Sweden and he lives in England at the moment, but he is employed by a U.S. company, YouTube. He didn't break any laws, but he was still offensive to many. YouTube, being a U.S. company, does have the right to censor Felix because it is within their First Amendment rights. They are allowed to censor anything in their company that goes against any of those, that they don't want to be portrayed as in their company. So that YouTube and Maker Studios had every right to cut ties with Felix because of what he said and the consequences that followed it and how people were affected by what he did. Does Felix deserve it? Yes, he does. Although I think that he's a great YouTuber and he's actually a really nice and funny guy, sometimes what people say need to have some consequences that follow. So yes, he needed to learn. A lot of YouTubers don't think that they will have any slander that comes on their name from things that they do, and that's just not the reality of it. What they do will need consequences. So yeah, today I shared one of Felix Schellberg's many YouTube scandals and how he suffered the consequences for his actions and words, and how the First Amendment right kind of comes into ties with it because he is in fact employed by a U.S. ground company and not one in Sweden where the amendment wouldn't necessarily come into play, but it does since he is employed by YouTube, which is U.S. ground.